Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to this pathetic thing I call my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite game franchises of all time, Half-Life. Half-Life has had a surprisingly long history over the years through mods and games. Though very little, Half-Life fans just love Half-Life. They want more of it. It's one of the reasons why people like looking to the beta content for the games, because it's more Half-Life. Well, at least how I see it. But one thing that interests me the most are cancelled Half-Life games. Sure, we've played Half-Life 2 plenty of times, but we've never played a game like Ravenholm. Games that get cancelled happen all the time, especially for a big budget game series like Half-Life. Sometimes it's for the worst, or for the better. A random example I can think of off the top of my head is Halo Chronicles, a game that I am so glad does not exist because, well, dude, I swear to God, they were on drugs when coming up with those ideas. But I'll stop delaying so we can talk about these games that we'll never play. Huh. The first cancelled Half-Life game, at least that we know of, was going to be Half-Life Hostile Takeover. After this game was cancelled, Valve tried trademarking Hostile Takeover for, some reason, but then stopped using it right before the release of Half-Life 2. But onto the game itself. Half-Life Hostile Takeover would have been made by 2015. No, not the year, the game company. Yes, that one. Now here you're asking yourself, screaming at the monitor, who the hell is 2015? Oh, that's an easy answer. They made this great expansion pack for Sin, and they also made Medal of Honor Allied Assault. And they, Okay. From what I'm looking at here, that's kind of, it for actual good things they've made. So during E3 in 1999, the founder of 2015, this dude, and Gabe Newell himself met up and discussed about making another Half-Life expansion pack. Opposing Force had already come out, and it seemed like the right timing to do another one. The game was announced in March of 2000, and was supposed to release in August of the same year, 2000. When the time came around, consumers got mixed up with Half-Life Counter-Strike and Hostile Takeover and thought it was like a name change or something. When in fact, Hostile Takeover was an actual cancelled Half-Life game, and Counter-Strike was just some other random bullshit that I wish never existed on this fucking planet. So just been vaporized. Fuck, I hate that game. So what would have been in this game? I mean, damn, if Opposing Force had all this amazing crap in it, with the time Gearbox was given, hell, who knows what you can do? Well, here's what we know. The game was not going to take place in Black Mesa, but a new facility called Allied Processing. This place was going to act as some kind of secret support facility for Black Mesa. It was to take an industrial complex look on the outside of the facility, and the inside of it would have contained a giant portal to Zen for researchers to mine materials in and out. It also possibly could have been implied that the GG3AA3 crystal, the same one that caused the resonance cascade, was extracted from Allied Processing. Now for the protagonist, we don't know much about him. According to Mark Laidlaw, they called him Junior G-Man. We have no idea if he was supposed to be an outside agent, a co-worker, or even if he worked for the G-Man. Who knows, maybe he was all the above actually. All that we know for sure is that Valve wanted to experiment with G-Man being interested in cannons before Gordon was his final pick. This idea would come back in a mod called Half-Life Echoes, but here's the thing, it's exactly that, a mod, meaning it's not canon and isn't made by Valve, so nobody really gives a shit. Okay, that's actually kind of mean, because I actually think the mod's really good, and I personally believe that you should play it, and James Cockburn, you did an amazing job. For gameplay mechanics, it seemed like they really wanted to expand the idea of supporting characters. The only example that we know of is guiding maintenance workers to help with an objective. New enemies that we know of were going to be a big hound eye and a monkey zombie. I'm guessing the big hound eye would have done more damage and was more powerful than a regular one. But it got me thinking, what if we got to kill the Big Mama version of the hound eyes? That would have been pretty cool. But that probably wasn't the case, so whatever. Okay, so far, I am hooked. A game about playing as possibly one of G-Man's agents would have been the coolest game ever. It is brilliant. Why was this game cancelled? Wait a second. Oh, okay. My script here actually tells me about why the game was probably cancelled, so, alright, let me read this. What the fuck? Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting. the game would have been a crossover with Half-Life and Team Fortress. No, this is not a fanfiction written by some nerd. This was something legit Valve almost did. They were going to be a private military force that was hired as security at Allied Processing, and you would have fought against the ACCU Marines. It couldn't have been the guys from Team Fortress 2 because, well, they weren't a thing yet. No duh. It most likely was going to be the Team Fortress Classic gang instead. For weapons, you would have had a Vortigaunt gun that shot Vortigaunt electricity, go figure, a toy car with a bomb on it, so I guess they're like Snorks, but you can control them. That's interesting. A satellite orbitable laser. Jesus Christ, that's fucking metal. Would have loved to use that indoors, man. And finally, that we know of, fully drivable tanks with destroyable terrain. Reminder, this is on the Gold Source engine. How? Now for destroyable terrain, it may have been possible. I mean, you can already do it in Half-Life 1 in certain areas of the game. I would have imagined it would have been something like this, but like, I guess on steroids or something. Now, as for drivable tanks and vehicles, yeah, it would have never happened. This is Gold Source. Do I really need to explain why that wouldn't work? The game was supposedly 60% done 90 days before the release date. To be honest with you, we know more about Half-Life 2 Episode 3 and Half-Life 3 than this game. We don't really know what the plot was, how it looked, concept art, gameplay, basically nothing. This is one of the most unknown cancelled Half-Life games that we know of. Also, those pictures, those are from an upcoming mod wanting to make the game. I've been using their images and music because, well, what am I supposed to show? There's nothing on the game. The Half-Life Hostile Takeover mod team said it was alright to use them. Or at least they didn't have any problems with it. So I guess, hippity hoppity, now my property. You can check them out in the description below, they seem alright. We pretty much have to guess on what the game would have been like. And the weird thing is that the game was 60% done. It apparently was playable from beginning to end. But probably just need more polish. It has to be out there somewhere. I would love to give it a try and see how far they really got. Also, yeah, this game would have literally messed up everything with lore and other Valve projects. But I still would love to play it though. If 2015 really did finish this game, I honestly think they would have gotten more spotlight and fame in the game industry. I mean, look at Gearbox. Opposing Force is literally the only reason why they are a company. Then again, was Gearbox really worth it? And that's probably why there wasn't a Half-Life game in 2000. That sucks. So what happened in 2015? Well, tragedy struck on April 14th, 2015. No, this is not a joke, it actually happened in 2015. 2015 sold the IP. They gave Nordic Games the IP of... God damn it, I can't even say it. They gave them the IP of Men of Valor. No. Overall, I'm heartbroken. Okay, next game. Half-Life console ports? Wait, that's an actual thing people want? Man, it makes me wonder why we give these same people the right to vote. I know, I said I wouldn't be talking about betas. But what makes this different is that this game was never ported to a console and cancelled. So it counts. The Half-Life ports are really interesting from a collector's perspective. Well, except Half-Life 2. Seriously, those ports can fucking die in a fire. These Half-Life 1 ports added new things to them, meaning you aren't just getting the same game, there was something else in it, which gives you a new experience. So Half-Life 1 on the PS2, for an example, gave you the Shad Super High Definition Pack, and Half-Life Decay on top of it. The Dreamcast port was being made by Gearbox and Captivation Digital Laboratories. Now, I hear you asking, who the hell is that? Well, hang on for a second. Oh, they only worked on this port. The reason why they canceled it is because, well, it was the Dreamcast. It didn't do well in sales. It was a great console, but historically speaking, it didn't sell well. Now, eventually, the port got leaked to the public so you could finally play Half-Life on the Dreamcast. Then somebody made a port to that Dreamcast port to PC. But this is actually the only canceled Half-Life game that we can play, at least for now. But how is it? I didn't play much on the Dreamcast because, well, it was actual dog shit and I stopped playing. But on the PC one, I just played through the whole thing and it was still just a banger from beginning to end. The models are something to talk about because these are basically just the HD pack that's on the PC. Okay, well, for the most part. Some of the models look pretty good, and others, well, look like shit. They're not so bad you want to throw up, but it feels like it's from the alpha build of Half-Life, and feels out of place with these models here. Also, they changed some of the level design so it could fit with the console port, and it's the weirdest thing for me. But I love Half-Life 1 and will play it no matter what, so it was fun to see it through a different lens, even if it all is so strange. Some of the new choices were pretty good, and others, well, I'm not sure why they were even made. A good example of this is on Honor Rail. See, whenever I play Honor Rail, I sometimes ditch the tram because I feel like it. But then all of a sudden, I stumble upon this door here. So I spam the use key repeatedly, hoping that it will open, but with no luck. But after putting on my thinking cap, my solution was I have to go back and get the tram. But here's the thing, I left the tram this playthrough. Which means I have to go all the way back. Yes, I went all the way back to get this tram. So after goose chasing this fucking tram around the facility, I come back and little behold, still nothing. So right as I'm about to take my cyanide pills, I notice there's a vent within this closet. I had already searched the closet, but I didn't notice the vent before. So I go through there, and that's where I'm supposed to go. Now why they did this? I have no idea. They also took out the first map from Interloper, and all I have to say to that is, well, they're a bunch of pussies. I understand why they took this part out. Reason being, well, how are you supposed to do this with a controller? Actually, wait, no, scratch that. How are you supposed to play this game with a controller? Even though the new level design was sometimes questionable, I still enjoyed every second of it. Plus, it gave me a new experience and threw me off. I think they reused it for the PS2 version, but I'm too lazy to find out if that's true or not. Also, as a little side note, Blueshift was going to be a Dreamcast exclusive, but when the port got cancelled on June 5th, 2001, they didn't want the work to go to waste, so they just ported it to PC. So that's why Blueshift is the way it is. It was probably just an afterthought for the Dreamcast with no new things in it, and something they just made really quickly. Still love Blueshift though. There was going to be a GameCube port in early 2002, but they didn't think it would be profitable enough, so they cancelled it without a flash. Also, this would have been one of the last Half-Life 1 contents that we would have gotten. It also makes me wonder if they had any other planned expansions like they did with the PS2 or Dreamcast. Here's a neat little fact. They actually brought back Russell... What the fuck? Russell Bornslayer back onto the team! Now I hear you asking, who is that? Well, he was the lead engineer at Captivation Digital Laboratories. You know, the guys who made the Dreamcast port. Now for cancellation, I kind of feel like they could have made a quick buck off it. But a quick buck probably wasn't enough for them. And plus, this was early 2002. People were getting burnt out of Half-Life. The game already came out in 1998. Sure, the PlayStation 2 port did really well, but here's the thing, it was 2002. But nobody ever seems to talk about this port. So I guess I won't talk about it either. But hey, what matters is that I provided more information, or I guess really discussion, about the cancelled Half-Life GameCube port than what I found on the wiki. Now, is that an achievement? No, not really. Oh shit, I forgot about the Macintosh. Yeah, it's not a console, but hey, it is a port, so I might as well talk about it. I didn't write a script for this port. The Half-Life Macintosh port was being developed by Logicware. It was in development from April 23rd through October 18th, 1999. In multiplayer, Mac users would have been able to play with PC players, making it cross-platformed. Sounds pretty good to me. I can finally play with that one Mac user I know. Apparently it was like 3 weeks away from shipping and was pretty much done. So, what happened? Well, from what I quickly read from the wiki, they overestimated that they would sell 1 million copies, since Sierra, the publisher of Half-Life at the time, found out that they weren't gonna make 1 million sales, and then the game was cancelled. But after reading a letter from Gabe Newell himself, it seemed like it was about emotions rather than money. This was back in the day, mind you. He quotes, "As we got close to shipping the product and reality set in, it was increasingly obvious that in order for us to break even on the Mac version, we were going to have to cut some corners. Okay, I guess we won't have Team Fortress Classic available at shipment." Then he goes on and on about how they would have to make more and more ports and do more things. He also quotes us saying, "I would much rather we just eat the money we've spent so far than take money away from Mac customers and short charge them." Did they add any new things, or is it just Half-Life 1? I have no idea, because as far as I can see it, the Half-Life 1 Macintosh port is pretty much gone forever. There was a second attempt of trying to port Half-Life to the Macintosh, but that didn't get far at all. Of course, Half-Life would be ported to the Macintosh eventually, you know, just in like 2013. Jesus Christ! Sorry about that, Macintosh gamers. if you really do exist. Overall, why didn't we get the super high definition pack models on PC? Valve was starting on episode 4 before they even worked on episode 3. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. This game was going to take place in Ravenholm and was being developed by Arcane Studios, the same people who made one of my favorite games of all time, Dishonored. I made a review for that game. Go watch it. I remember back in 2015, when I was still crazy over the Half-Life games. Oh wait, I'm still the same. I guess some things never change. I don't remember every second of it, but I do know the gist of it. Back in early 2015, I was browsing through the internet doing my normal routine, or gag, however the hell you want to look at it. I was looking at Half-Life related content when I stumbled upon this canceled project that Valve and Arcane were working on. So then I saw Valve Time's video on it, and I'm gonna be real with you, when I saw those images, my jaw fucking dropped. But after that video, I wanted to know more about this mysterious project. I wanted to know everything. But I couldn't because, well, 1, I'm not a hacker, and 2, there wasn't that much information on this game. So you could say it felt kind of anticlimactic. But I can't tell you how much my jaw dropped when I found out that Arcane Studios was going to do a documentary on the game. So from what we know, this game was going to take place after Half-Life 2, but before the end of episode 2. So during episode 1, I guess. Oh yeah, before I dive into that, there was another game company that was doing a Ravenholm game. It was being made by Junction, the same people who made Epic Mickey. And, Epic Mickey 2 and, oh, that's all they made. Wow, what a fucking history, am I right? But then it got canceled and then landed on Arcane Studios' desks. I still don't get it, even after reading it. Okay, so in Arcane's game, you would have been playing as Corporal Adrian Shepard. Wait, really? Okay. The only 2 characters in this game, supposedly, would have been Father Gregory and Shepard, which I would have been down for because I want more combat in these games. For weapons, there was going to be a lot. There was going to be a nail gun that shot electric nails and would have been used to connect wire puzzles. Why does that sound familiar? Okay, but there is more to this weapon. You would have been able to use your electric bolts to set up traps, so when zombies run by, they will just disintegrate. You could have connected stuff like in this footage here. Oh yeah, and when you would shoot zombie limbs, they would be stuck there, and they would play an animation of them trying to get out. Goddamn, that is really impressive for the time. There was a nail bomb thing that would have exploded electric nails, a leaf blower that would have been some kind of rocket jump-like weapon. There would have been a push-like mechanic that would have, pushed zombies or any other object. What am I supposed to say? You push stuff. Then there was a pistol, a shotgun, and an SMG. The weapon that interested me the most was the charge gun. It shot huge balls of electricity and would vaporize people from what I saw. There were going to be new enemies like mutated monkeys, acid zombies, running zombies, and maybe other ones that we don't know about. Now for the infected, okay, well to be fair, this game was in development before Left 4 Dead. The zombies don't have head crabs on their heads, and well, I'm not really sure why that is. Now I do know this. When I was examining some of the footage that we do have, I noticed how some of the shirts say, I am a placeholder. I guess that solves that mystery, I think. And some of these zombies carried like things like hatchets and stuff, and that's really cool, but that's still really strange, and I don't really know why that is. A lot of these things were placeholders. God, I hope so. To be honest with you, I didn't think they got this far into the project. It's incredible to look at this and wonder what could have been. For the plot, it was basically Gregory and Shepard just chilling together while Shepard tries helping Gregory out with his power. Gregory would have been injecting headcrab blood into his neck, thinking he would be immune to the headcrab bite. Over time, Gregory would have been mutating and he would try hiding this from Shepard by wearing a coat. Although we don't know the ending, what I think could have happened was Gregory being the final boss. That would have been awesome and, well, heartbreaking for me a little. Now I want to bring us back for a second. You would have played as Adrian Shepard. To me, that seems like it came out of nowhere. What would have been the connection with these games? Would there have been a pipe wrench, flashbacks, anything? Would Gregory at least say his name? Or did Arcane just pull Shepard out of their ass and just did it just cuz? I've heard some theories that Shepard would have been broken out of stasis during episode 1, and that makes total sense. I'm not against the idea of playing as Adrian Shepard again, but I would have liked to remember that I'm playing as Adrian Shepard and that this game has a connection with opposing force. Wait, what am I saying? This game isn't coming out. Well, I guess we'll never know. I'm really only scratching the surface of this. There was a lot that was sewn off. A major theme for the game seemed to have been electricity. It's everywhere in this fucking alpha build. You can watch the no-clip documentary about the project. Links will be down below. But if you only care about Half-Life, then turn on the captions and go here. The game was being made by the French part of Arcane Studios, so that's why you'll need the captions. Plus, who can better explain it than the developers themselves? There's a lot of petitions out there of people wanting to release the alpha build to the public. Now, will they do this? I don't fucking know. That will also be in the description, or just the random one that I find, a couple maybe, I don't know. I'll figure it out when I'm done with this video. But I'll stop there. Overall, this could have been my third favorite game in the series, and we know more about it than Half-Life 3. I think Valve totally made the right choice in this decision. Ironically.
To the game.
Yo guys, give me a hell yeah, brother, if you love EA. I'm not hearing anybody. Okay, because they may have been making a Half-Life game. Also, do you remember when I said how Hostile Takeover was one of the most unknown canceled Half-Life games that we know about? Well, this game takes the cake. Here's what we know about it. These 6 concept arts. And, that's it! Oh yeah, let's look at them. There's a canal, a railway, an apartment, and one called Heaven, where you were possibly supposed to meet up with somebody. Who this person is unknown. And finally, the last 2 main parts, in my opinion at least, a Metro Cop unit and this thing. This game was most likely going to be a prequel before Half-Life 2 and after Half-Life 1. It reminds me of Half-Life Alyx. I mean, we have a canal, railway, apartments, and we do meet with people. I can't help but think that Valve possibly took some inspiration from this when making Alyx. Also, this Metro Cop looks amazing. Okay, that's all I can come up with. Overall, is there more to this cancelled idea? I would love to see more. Also, dude, who knows? Maybe there could have been loot boxes and 5-pay DLCs to change the color. So thanks to Jeff Keighley, we finally know what happened at Valve after episode 2. So Half-Life 3 was being worked on through 2013 through 2014. What Valve wanted to do, apparently, was create random generated enemies, and create a different experience every time you played the game. Apparently they also wanted to do this for the environment, and what I mean by that is that they wanted to make different pathways every time you played the game. So on one playthrough you might have to go in a certain direction, but in another playthrough you might have to go do something else. Now was this a good idea? It really depends on how large the mechanic was. If it's on a large scale, then Let's Plays are not going to help you at all. I kinda know this from playing the Underhell mod. But if it was like here and there, that would have been fine with me. Valve also tried rescanning Frank Sheldon's face, the model who they based off the G-Man in Half-Life 2. So why was this project cancelled? Well, it's actually pretty simple. These were the early stages of Source 2 and that technology just wasn't there yet. So it was cancelled in 2014. Maybe next time, guys.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
And after Half-Life 3, they tried some other ideas. For the lab, they wanted to make Shooter, which was going to have Half-Life 2 inspired levels and you would have shot a bunch of stuff. I guess it would have been like Super Hot VR, but instead it was Half-Life 2. And then there was Boreallis, which was also going to be a VR game. Apparently, you would have been able to explore the Boreallis and go through time and space. You would have saw stuff like the 7 Hours War and I guess other stuff. And you would have been able to go fishing off the Boreallis. To be quite honest, that part just got me hooked entirely. It would have been Game of the Year. Now to quote the wiki here, the reason why the Borealis was cancelled was because it never gained enough momentum at the company for its developers to be able to justify continuing working on it. Now for this disclaimer, I do not own the final hours of Half-Life Alyx. If you want to let me know if I missed anything, you can do so in the comment section. I just see what I see from the internet. In conclusion, if a developer is offered to make a Half-Life game, take it. And hopefully Valve doesn't change their minds and throws all your creativity into the garbage. I do think we'll get more Half-Life games from Valve, and I especially hope that we'll get unknown third-party developers again like they did with Gearbox or Arcane Studios in 2015. Overall, that's most likely everything that we know about. If you want to be an asshole, you can tell me if I made a mistake in this video. Type it in the comments, I don't care. Hell, I don't even know if I covered every single one. For all I know, there's probably more cancelled Half-Life games than me going outside and talking to someone. Not really sure why you're still here or how how you're still here. You can tell us your strategy in the comment section. I mean, it would help me a lot. I can't even look at the first millisecond of this video. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.